The world that we live in seems to get more and more insane by the day. Everything feels inverted. Hard work, which was once the backbone of strong nations, is discouraged by endless rules and regulations that reward idleness over effort. People who strive are burdened. People who contribute are taxed, restricted and silenced. Meanwhile, those that produce nothing are elevated, protected and celebrated. Governments, whose first duty should be to serve and protect their own people, now feel more interested in serving foreign, distant ideologies and powers than the citizens that they were elected to represent. And everywhere we look, society encourages us to worship false idols, celebrity, money, status, technology, but rarely truth, rarely virtue, rarely God. So today I want to do something simple. Let's go back to something ancient, something that guided civilization for thousands of years. The 10 Commandments. Just 10 principles, 10 lines that form the moral backbone of the Western world. Don't lie. Don't steal. Don't murder. Honour your parents. Don't worship false idols. These weren't just religious ideas. They were the foundations of trust, of community, of civilization itself. Now ask yourself, honestly, how far have we drifted from them? Look around. Lying has become normalised in politics and media. Coveting what others have is now encouraged as social justice. Marriage and family, once sacred institutions, are mocked and dismantled. And false idols, well, we've got more of those than at any point in history. And here's something interesting. Many people today are proud to say they don't believe in God. They laugh at the idea of a higher power. They say that humanity has outgrown religion. Yet at the same time, they actively encourage the influence of something far darker. Because when the truth is inverted, when good is mocked, and when virtue is ridiculed, what fills the vacuum? Something else is always going to step in. Many people scorn at the idea of a unifying, benevolent power in the universe, and instead they bow at the altar of science. Don't misunderstand me, science is a powerful tool, but it was never meant to replace morality or spirituality. So here's a little test I like to ask people. Have you ever had a lucky charm? You know, a lucky pair of pants that you wear before you go out on a Friday night. A ritual or a mascot that you have before an exam, hoping that it's going to improve your chances. Maybe you've got a little routine that you do before a job interview. Why? Why do people do that? Well, it's because deep down, almost instinctively, we believe that something greater than ourselves can have an influence on the outcome of an event. That unseen forces can guide us. That somehow, somewhere, we're not completely alone. Now, that to me instinctively points in one direction, and that's to God. And his guardians, our guardian angels, all of those like spirits, our ancestors that are there watching over us, helping us along the way. The subtle nudges that we get that tell us to turn left instead of turning right, to not cross the road at that exact moment and then a car goes past, to pause for a moment, not to go and meet that person, to trust that feeling that you can't quite explain, your spidey senses. Now, I experienced something like that myself. When I was in Afghanistan, I was leading a patrol down a route that I'd already pre-planned, and I got to a fork in the path, left or right. Now, my plan was to go to the left, and then I had this weird spidey sense, this instinct to say, do not go left. And I listened to it. And so instead we went to the right, which would have took us on a slightly different route that I hadn't even recce'd or planned. Anyway, moments later, massive explosion to the left, the place that I was going to go. What was that? That I can't explain. But I had a powerful instinct not to go that way because something just didn't feel right. And you can still call it instinct, but that was enough for me. That proved to me that God existed, that I had guardian angels watching out for me. So let me leave you with a final thought. Just imagine that there's even the smallest possibility that God exists. That at the end of this life, we may have to answer for the choices and decisions we made, how we treated others, the principles that we live by. If there's the slightest chance that that is true, then why wouldn't you choose to live your life in the best way possible? Why wouldn't you try to follow the principles that have guided humanity for thousands of years? why wouldn't you choose or try to live by those simple 10 commandments, just in case? Because if you do, even if you're wrong, you have still lived a life of honour, discipline and integrity. And if you're right, well, that might be the most important decision you've ever made. Think about it.